Welcome along to EXFL Tier 2 Season 13. We are here for round 4 out of 20. It's the return of Miami here in Florida for one of the 2 races in the States. The last 4 or 5 seasons it's been Texas and Vegas. Vegas has obviously been swapped for Miami now, much earlier in the calendar, like it's always been. Yeah, so it's been 5 seasons, 2.5 years since we last raced here at Miami Gardens. We've got 20 drivers for this 18-minute qualifying session ahead of us. Do not know what the weather for the race will be like. Apparently, it's a wet race. Oh, no way. No way. There was a lot of talk in the 15-minute build-up when the lobby was made of, will we get rain? And we haven't had rain in a race properly in terms of everyone on inters for a genuine while now. We didn't have a single wet race last season. The only rain we got was the last couple laps of Britain, but that was just a few spots. So not since the first season on 25. I'm trying to think back now if whenever the last wet race was, but it's been a good half a year or more. So we could see our first wet session in general on the 26 campaign in both Tier 1 and Tier 2 right here today. So 80 minutes of dry running. There are some already immediately out there not bothering with the setup, or maybe they just didn't think it was necessary. But Miami, that requires probably lower wings than the lowest wings so far of any track we've done this season, they might have to reconsider a little. That's very interesting. Alright then, so we've got about half the field out there on the track, the other half still in the pits, deciding what to do with the setup. But I'll take you through the running. Sasha then, after entering the first 3 races, reserving for Haas, he has been promoted to a full-time seat at Alpine because Nathan has dropped from Alpine full-time to a reserve, and he's now reserving for the Haas outfit. Aaron has been promoted full-time to the Haas outfit after also joining and reserving for the Haas. So either Adam or Stepan's lost their seat because it's the 4th race in a row. Both of them are not appearing. So Sasha, who finished his debut, I think, 13th in round 1. He finished 9th in round 2. He was running at one point 5th last week in Japan, but then there were a few incidents, mainly with Toby and whatnot. So he's building himself up, so that's good to see. And now he begins his proper Tier 2 full-time career with Alpine at Miami. It's a fitting colour spectrum, pink and blue, considering that's usually what Miami consists of. We've got Martin, who led the championship after winning the Chinese Grand Prix a fortnight ago. Wasn't the greatest race for him last week in Japan. The opening lap sending him down the order after a mistake that was ultimately down to him, unfortunately. Tried to make his way back, finished, I think, 7th in the end. So he has lost the championship lead, currently sits 3rd, about 7 or 8 points off the top. Then we have the 2 Cadillacs of Yannick and Charlie, who's already back in the pit lane then, it seems. We've got Cal out there in the McLaren, heading into the final corner you really have to worry about. Toby in the Williams, Samurai on an outlap in the Red Bull. We've got Grush, who's been on pole for every single race so far this season. It's 3 out of 3 for the McLaren. Will he make it a 4th? As he went on a bit of a streak last season to equal the record of most poles in a row by a Tier 2 driver of 5, which obviously Grush has and Oren has, and I think it's just them 2. There might be a 3rd driver off the top of my head, but Grush looking for his 10th pole position. 10th in EXFL Tier 2. Of course, only 2 wins to his name. He's finished second, and on the last corner, the last lap, last week he was 2nd, and then he lost the car to finish 3rd to Eggy, who's gone quickest at the moment, and then Martin displaces him into the 1:26 26s by just under 2 tenths. Tier 1 pole yesterday, where we were diving into the high 25s, and pole ended up being a 25.3. but 2nd did a 25.6, I believe. So there was a little bit of a gap. But yeah, 25's Tier 1. Tier 2 will be low 26s, you would hope. It's always about a 2nd, and it pretty much has been that for the longest time from what I can remember. But Grush will cross the line then, and he goes third at the moment, nearly half a second adrift of Martin. Eggy once again putting in a very strong time to be on the front row. His teammate Christian in 7th. Louis, Poisonous Gold, Audi making a bit more of a return today after not either one of them appearing last week. So that's a good lap time from Sasha as well, up in 4th. Cal up in 5th. That's not too bad, as he gets immediately replaced by Cookster, who goes 5th in the Ferrari. And then the other Ferrari of Alex goes P7. We've got Dubs in P10, the only RB today. Jack not racing, and the only other seat that's not on the whole grid is... I'm not too sure, actually. Is it Alpine? I think it's Alpine, yeah. Warren, yeah, Warren, and Warren and Jack, yeah. So Samurai went 9th, but he'll obviously be going again. Always sounds like someone's hit the wall when they go through this complex, but no, it's just the underbody of the car skidding its way along as Charlie's left. As Dello, by 47 thousandths, championship leader by 1 point ahead of Grush. 1 point behind Grush. Grush is the championship leader. He's 1 point ahead of Dello, who goes to the top of the pile by just under half a tenth. So Dello has done 2 of the 3 races so far this season, and he's won them both. 50 points for him. Grush consistently second, third, and yeah, 1 point ahead of Dello and Martin. These 3 are mainly being the main 3 at the moment. Eggy and people like Yannick and Samurai and well, you never know if anyone else is going to throw their hat into the ring. We're still kind of early doors into the season. Just hoping Charlie out there, he had I think a glitch or something with his assists. But right now Sasha is in front of an Aston of I believe Scher, who's not on a lap, so that's good to know. I don't think Dello's on a lap. No. The RB might just be finishing one of Dubs. Crosses the line 13th. So that's 16 times on the board. Then we're still waiting for Charlie, Toby, Nathan and Scher to begin one. Scher's about to just cross the line and Toby's just exited the pits. So after the first run then, Yannick went 3rd to make the top 3 within 800ths of one another. So that's good stuff. Samurai's gone 5th and then immediately gets replaced by Grush, who finds a bit more time for 4th. So look at this top 6. That's very interesting. These 3 pretty close. These other 3 very close. 1,000 between Grush and Eggy. And then Sasha kind of best the rest of the moment, but he's beginning a lap, so we'll take you through a lap of Miami then. Diving into turn 1. With the shadows, it can be slightly tricky, but with others, it might be more of a marker. Through the tight complex of 2 and 3, and getting on the power is so critical. And then diving almost flat, and by the end of quali, it probably will be flat, through turn 4 and 5, trying not to go too wide, scrub any sort of time through this long, complicated left-hander, which Sasha's gone quite wide for. At least it will set him up as he finishes the first sector split. He's down by just under a tenth and a half. But through the kinky straight, right, left, flat out, blasting your battery, pretty much all of it. Because come the middle sector towards the end, you save so much. Heavy braking then, as well, that line didn't look accurate because I didn't know if Sasha's backed off or not. But carrying on through the slowest part of the track, heading into the Mickey Mouse chicane, you want to get as close to the inside wall as possible, but it is very risky. I have no idea. This surely can't be a representative lap. No, he's 3 seconds down. Thank goodness. Oh, wait, Yannick, he's 68 thousandths down in the first sector, so we'll pick off where we left with Sasha then. Heavy braking zone, very difficult to get right. Once again, Charlie having issues. But Yannick flicking the car in. Can he find any more time to put himself in pole position territory? Takes his way through the Mickey Mouse game quite well. Bit of a slide here and there as he's just trying to get the power down, but he's down by quite a bit. as Yannick heads into the pit lane then. Martin, he's up by a tenth and a half. He's done a 29.8 for the first sector split then. So he's really giving it all, keeping close to the right. Heavy braking then, going into third gear. It's a bit of a mix, a lot of these corners with third and second. Now he goes down to second, gets on the power, up to third, up to fourth, but hits the wall. And that's going to lose him a lot of time if he even carries on with the lap, which he will try. How much time has that lost him? He's still up by quite a bit, so he's gotten away with a big hit of the wall heading into the Mickey Mouse chicane. But he's lost about 11 thousandths compared to the first sector split, so we know there's probably some time left in that. The car ahead of him gets out the way. Final corner, bit make or break. Takes it very nicely indeed. On the power, as beautiful as you like, and this should surely be the time to beat then. Even after smacking the wall at the Mickey Mouse, Martin goes across the line to take provisional pole away from Dello, who's down by 19 thousandths in the first sector, but he's also done a 29.8. Doesn't hit the wall, unlike Martin, diving it through the Mickey Mouse chicane. Looks like Grush is slightly on the back foot right now, so it's anyone else's game to try and take pole position. Dello's up by 86 thousandths. He needs another couple hundredths to dislodge Martin from pole. Yannick's currently at the pits. Eggy's just behind Dello. One crucial braking zone. Takes a little bit more curve than Martin did on the power. The sector 3 is pretty much the most even between the rest because it's really only one corner you have to worry about. Has Dello beaten Martin across the line? Yes, he has by 29 thousandths. The pendulum swings back to Red Bull. And what about Samurai? First sector split coming up. 29.5. Wait. Wow. Okay. So he used a lot of battery, or maybe he's just really good at the first sector. Who knows? Maybe he's got high wings. And, well, considering it's a wet race, those high wings could be very probable. But Samurai flying in the first sector split then. He's got really one car in his way of that Alpine ahead of him, of Sasha. Is Sasha on a lap? Either way, it's an invalid lap now. So will he get out the way of Samurai? Will he even help with a bit of slipstream? Samurai, middle sector split now. 6 tenths up, and he's only 4 tenths off the top time. Red Bull looking very good at the moment. Sasha, will he get out of the way of Samurai? Or will this actually help him? He's far enough ahead, so I don't think he's going to be too in the way. It all depends on the exit in terms of dirty air. I think Samurai has done enough to get this provisional pole as Sasha heads into the pit lane. Is Samurai about to make it a Red Bull front row lockout across the line? Samurai is on provisional pole with 5 minutes left on the clock. And now he's definitely thrown his hat into the ring. He missed the opening round. Round 2 and 3, he was 6th in both of them. We haven't really seen his sort of performance like we saw last season. Round 4, just like it was in Japan last season around that time. He's back and making sure Red Bull are a force to be reckoned with. Eggy. Round the final couple of corners then. Looked very racy indeed. Fought for the win last week across the line. This looks like a pretty good lap. And it is! To get himself back onto the front row. It's Mercedes and Red Bull sharing 1 and 2. Cookster down in the first sector. So what has Grush got in the locker then? We know he always likes to do 2 runs right at the end. But is his pole streak about to come to an end? Sure, 9th. Callum, he's retired, so he's only going to get 10th at best. Looks like Charlie's really struggling with whatever's going on there. Where even is he? Oh, he's 9. Oh, he's out. He's out of the session. So Nathan is the only one to not set a lap time then. Fnatic and Toby right at the back there with Williams, but we know right at the end they will set a lap time good enough. Right, that's the last time I'm looking at my phone. Because now it's getting serious. So Grush, run 1 of 2. Towards the end, how much time is left for him? Into turn 1 then. You want to take a little bit of curve, not wash too wide. His teammate gets out of the way. Through 2 and 3. Very smooth, very calm for the championship leader. Up to turn 4. It's pretty much flat now. All you need to do is gear shift down to 6. Maybe down to 5th, but he kept it how he likes round the very annoying long left-hand. It feels like it's never going to end. Stamp on the power. Over the curb. First sector split. Couple hundredths down. But that's not a bad first sector. 29.6 to Samurai's 29.5. It looks like people like Dello and Eggy and Martin are using a lot more in the second half of the lap than the first. That's where they're gaining more. Heavy braking then for Grush. What gear does he take it? Stays in third. Flick it right. Stays in third. I really would have expected second there. Up to fourth. Down to third and second. Over the Mickey Mouse chicane. He's not got that exactly right. The car just washed into a slide. So Grush, first middle sector split. He's up though. So even after that slide, he's found time. So we definitely know there's even more in that. And well, you can see ahead, he should get Yannick, who's just started a lap. He should get Martin and Dello. He's really fighting for this. One corner left then for the McLaren before he backs off and goes for one more time. And where can he place that McLaren? How much time can he find in the last sector? He'll come across the line. 26.4. Time to beat. It's a 26.7. And he only goes ahead of Yannick. So he's behind Martin and Dello and Eggy and Samurai, who are all on their outlaps. Yannick. Let's see what his first sector split's like. This might be his one and only chance right at the end there. He's up by a massive margin in the first sector there. I wonder if these guys are still messing around with the battery here and there, trying to figure it out. Right now, it's looking good for Yannick. Scher's gone 8th. Sasha up slightly in the first sector, 29.9. Martin has just begun his lap. Then it'll be Dello. Then Samurai, then Eggy. Let's look back to Yannick. Looks like that Mickey Mouse chicane is the most crucial part for some of these drivers, just trying to get it right. There's yellows going about. There's going to be a bit of traffic in Yannick's way, but the Ferrari gets out of his way. Yannick up by 3.5 tenths, so he needs about 8 hundredths more if he wants to challenge Samurai for his second career pole position. Any one of these top 6 could take pole position here. And the other Ferrari, bit of an eyesore for Yannick, but definitely not in his way. So Yannick will exit the last corner. Slight slide. He's going to be on the power as soon as possible. He wants this. He'll come across the line to 26.4. Time to beat. He's a 26.5. And he's 3/4 of a tenth off pole. And with 30 seconds to go, that's Yannick's best effort then of a front row start. Samurai's begun his final run. Then Eggy. And then the Audi. And then the Williams right at the back. This is all going to kick off then. Martin, middle sector split. He's up by half a second and more. As you see Scher right behind him. Did Scher give him any sort of tow? Maybe on the first straight. Either way, Martin got his first win a fortnight ago in China, trying to fight for his first pole position. Grush has just begun his final run. Qualifying's done then. 0 seconds left on the clock. His teammate Cow is about to cross the line on an invalid lap. But here comes Martin across the line. It's a 26.0. 4 tenths. He's put some distance between the rest of them. Samurai up by slightly more in the first sector. Eggy still ahead of Callum, who's decided to hang about. Dello's only 4th as he crosses the line. 4 thousandths off Yannick. So, oh no, not Callum. Louis has decided to start his lap right behind Eggy. As we're seeing one of the white dots about to cross the line. That's Nathan, who stays 15th. And we got Aaron and Dubs about to cross the line then. Aaron currently 12th at the moment. And he stays 12th. And Dubs goes 18th. Now we see a few of the Ferraris, I believe, cross the line. Cookster's 7th. Belinsky's 14th. What about the Red Bull of Samurai then? He's slightly down and he doesn't improve. Pretty much level with his time. Here come the Williams then. Sasha's out. Toby crosses the line. P10. As, oh, the 2 Mercedes. Christian. Eggy. What has happened there with them? What about Grush then? Don't discount him right at the end. He's been on pole for every race this season. Fanatic goes to the front row. Grush crosses the line. He hasn't got it. Martin, for the first time, has got pole position in EXFL Tier 2. He delivered a masterclass of a lap right at the end there. Tier 1 has always usually been a second clear of pole. And if you were P2 onwards, that would still be the case. But Martin has put himself nearly 4 tenths clear of Fanatic with his best ever qualifying in Tier 2 as well to be P2 right at the end there. What a lap from the Williams. So that's Martin, Fanatic, Samurai 3rd. I'm sure he'll still be quite happy with that. Yannick 4th, Dello 5th. The top 2 in the championship, 5th and 7th. Grush 7th with Eggy in the middle. Wow. And then Cookster and then Sasha and then Scher rounded out the top 10. What a qualifying. But what happened to the Mercedes right at the end there? Why were they both off? Eggy, I don't know if he was up. Christian, I think he was done. Maybe tried to give a slipstream, but yes. After all that craziness, I kind of forgot about the rain. The rain is here then. The image that got sent to the chat was sunny with a rain cloud, so I do not know if this is going to be a changeable condition race. Either way, the rain is here. We've almost sort of jinxed it if you're superstitious. But there's a lot to work out strategy-wise, fuel-wise, any setup tweaks you can still make within Parc Ferme. This is going to be very interesting. Obviously, we banned rain for the first 2 weeks because there was an issue. There was a glitch with the medium and the hot lap, but that got fixed, and from last week onwards, so Japan and now today, it's back to dynamic, and it's only taken 2 weeks for us to get some. The glitch was, I think at the start of the game, obviously you can't use boost in the wet. You have none, medium, hot lap, boost. You can't use boost in the wet. Originally I think you could use up to hot lap, and then there was a glitch where some had hot lap, some had medium, and now I think you can only use none and medium as a battery tool. So I don't know how much overtaking we might see. This is really the first taster of a wet race in general, really. We haven't seen it in real life yet. We haven't seen it in Tier 1. We haven't seen it in Tier 2. This is the first wet race with these cars I've seen it, at least, and I think for a lot of other people it will be. So it's going to be a big learning race. Who can make the most of it? Who's going to be the Rainmaster with these new generation of cars? There are the ticking noises then. The rain's not too heavy, so you'd assume everyone's going to start on inters. And whether it's inter or you can make the inters last the whole race. We saw Dello pretty good on in Austria in the social race pre-season take his tyres long. People like Dello and Eggy are very good on their tyres. Yeah, do I even really need to pull the tyre up thing? We know everyone's on inters. There we go. We'll turn that off for now. Yeah, we'll leave it on that. So, Martin then. First pole position. After getting his first win 2 weeks ago, will start the Miami Grand Prix with no one ahead of him. Fnatic then. 3 wins to his name. Also, no poles, but it's the first, I think, front row for him. So, considering Fnatic's so much better in the races than he is in qualifying, what could he do from P2? Samurai knows he needs to start to make his way back up more through the field. He got caught out a little with Fnatic actually last week at Dunlop Curve, which kind of set Samurai's race a bit more further back than he wanted. So this is his chance then to gain some ground on those behind. Yannick, 3rd in the opening race, 4th last week. He missed round 2. Currently 4th right now. So keeping up that consistent trend. We always know Yannick likes to do something a little different on strategy. Dello, what can he do on 5th? We know he likes making his way through the field a little. Eggy, we know he's probably the best driver on the grid in terms of tyre wear management. And Grush down in 7th. Maybe it's the opposite for him today. Been on pole for the first 3 races, finished lower. Maybe today there's only one way left to go. But you never know. Cookster, kind of the best of the rest, fighting with Sasha and Scher and Toby. And then the 2 Audis. Look at that, Louis right behind Callum at the end. Considering Callum didn't do the majority of qualifying. And then Cow in P14 ahead of Aaron in 15th as Alex is in a Haas sandwich with Nathan behind him, then Christian, and then Dubs, and then Charlie. At least like he said in DM, he gets to start this race, but I think he's struggling with assist lockings or glitches. But the field then sliding their way onto their grid slots. And first will be Martin, then Fnatic, then the other Martin, then Yannick, then the other Red Bull, and then Eggy, Grush, Cookster, Sasha, Scher. Well, what a return this is to Miami. Aaron's failed his grid parking. But for the first time in 2.5 years, we are back here in Miami. And it will be the first ever wet race with these cars in EXFL history, really. So, into the unknown we go. Martin on the left, Fnatic on the right. The 5 lights come on to signal the start of EXFL back in Miami. It's lights out And away we go. Fnatic wiggling off the line as Martin down into turn 1 holds the lead, but the Red Bulls look like they're swapping. Yannick to the inside, 3 wide with the Red Bulls as Samurai backs out. What a start from Dello. He's swapped with his teammate and puts Yannick wide on the curb to allow Samurai back ahead of the Cadillac, and then Eggy and Grush hold position. Same with Cookster. Toby ahead of Scher, who's stayed where he is. Grush still fighting away with Eggy as they're side by side through turn 4 and 5 as there's slight connection between their rear and front tyres, which is allowing the top 5 to get away. Eggy all sort of out of shape there as Cookster under pressure from Toby to the inside as they're side by side nearly with Eggy there. So Grush ahead of the Mercedes, and then all further back. It looks like Aaron's had a bad start as he's at the back as they scream their way past in the intermediate conditions. The two Audis on the verge of points, just like real life, and it's all going to kick off here. So many cars occupying the same piece of track. Diving to the inside. Toby, what a first lap he's having as he's still finding away with Cookster, who's not giving this up as it looked like the rest of the top 6 are pretty spaced out. So Cookster stays ahead of Toby as Eggy's had an awful first lap, dropping a few places. Then Scher has to cut the track as Callum looks to the inside to try and get that point. Side by side still between the Audi, as I think he may have got tagged there by his teammate or just lost the car. But now it's a bit of a drag race between these two as it looks like Callum has the inside line and will get the place. Samurai very close to the back of his teammate, having to brake late. So it's Martin, Fnatic, Dello, Samurai, Yannick, Grush, Toby looking to the inside of Cookster there, Eggy, Callum, Scher, Louis. Let's look at places gained. Toby up 3 places, feeling very racy. Christian at 4. Make that 3 because Charlie's up 6 places as he's side by side banging wheels with the Mercedes as they're diving down into turn 1. Christian brakes later and now has to look to the inside because he braked too late, running into the back of Louis as through goes Sasha. It's all kicking off at the back with the Mercedes, the Audi and the Alpine. We're going to ride on board with someone else. Christian's looking quite laggy, but Martin has a 1.2 second lead as they're single file into turn 4 are the rest of the midfield and back markers. And Martin, sliding his way out, has broken that 1 second streak. So, we see Dello's yellow light. Yannick, I think he's flickering in between yellow and normal. We've got Eggy in the yellow. Sasha in the yellow. Christian and Alex in the yellow. And that's it. So, yeah, the top 3 pretty spaced out. 1 second between them all as there's swaps more happening with Toby and Cookster getting their elbows out. Cookster slides into the Williams. Who's going to emerge into the Mickey Mouse chicane? Side by side. Dello's got a 3 second time penalty already. Did he go across the Mickey Mouse chicane? Pretty sure because it's only lap 2. No way has he racked up 3 warnings already as Cookster holds his nerve then ahead of Toby, who's looking feisty in the opening laps of the race. So let's quickly look. Yeah, instant. He went straight across, and I'm pretty sure Samurai didn't do anything to him. And Fnatic, as Martin is really sliding out of these. That's not going to help his tyre wear, as it's Toby ahead of Cookster now, as they're going to cross the line. But Cookster, once again, back ahead. And Callum, watching this unfold as Eggy struggling down with the top of the midfield. Grush a bit on his own at the moment, as down the inside, Toby. Slight contact with Cookster. But Cookster all aboard the train. He will not let them pass. As the top 5 are all within a second of one another now. Grush, like I said, a bit on his own. So Cookster will lead this train that's emerging all the way down to Sasha in 12th. Charlie's up to 13th. Louis, Christian, Dubs, Alex struggling in 17th. Then the 2 Haas cars. Then Cow is down at the back. So you can see the spray kicking off in the back there of all the cars. Pretty high battery, as like I said, I think it's only medium and none, so expect everyone to be, I mean, look at them, they're all identical because they can only use so much. I wonder what will happen with this rain. Will it stay like this the whole race? Will it get easier? Will it get heavier? Toby has chimed this way and that to get past the Ferrari. I think Yannick's struggling to keep with these guys at the front. But yeah, Dello had a great launch. Samurai looked like he just bogged down a little, and Red Bull teamwork allowed Samurai to get back ahead of Yannick. And, well, Red Bull have 2 cars in the mix, but one of them has a penalty already. 73, 73, 71, 75, 70. It's all just going to be exactly the same. Don't expect anyone to be lower than, what, 50 maybe this entire Grand Prix. But Cal has made moves on both Haas cars so far, as Aaron's already dropped way behind. Sasha's making a move on Eggy, who started P6. His position in this race has doubled that, down to 12th now. As let's look back to Toby. Is he anywhere closer to Cookster? No, but they are gaining on Grush, who before this race really did not want any rain, so this has not helped the championship leader out. His closest challenger, Dello, on 50 points, has a penalty, and right behind them is Martin, so Martin could retake the lead of the championship after today. 3 racers, 3 different championship leaders so far, as Toby, who was all over Cookster, is now being passed by Callum. As we see the overhead shot, Callum always leaving a car's width of room. Now he can shut the door on the Williams. Callum is up to 8th then. Fair play. Up 4 places goes the Audi, and now Toby's under pressure from Schur. This way and that, their teammates are 1 and 2 in the race. They're trying to fight for 9th and 10th, the back end of the points. This is going to rely on who's the last of the late breakers. Callum goes defensive to the inside. Toby breaks later, round the outside. But Callum over the curb, still has to leave room because Toby spies a gap to the inside. They pass the American flag. They're still side by side into the Mickey Mouse chicane. That's going to be close. They managed to just hold off, but Callum still spies a gap to the inside. Toby will have more momentum round the outside, and he's back in front. So Toby just making the corner there, but that's freed up Cookster a lot. And here comes Schur in the slipstream of Toby, practically pushing him. He's got nowhere to go. Left, occupied. The right, it's a wall. Breaking down into the lane, and there goes Sasha out of nowhere, trying to make it 3 wide, going deep. Toby, and now pushing Callum through the corner, is Sasha ahead of Schur. Charlie's up to 12th on the inside as Eggy's dropped to 13th now. Huge fight from 8th all the way down to P13. Toby back in front of Callum, who breaks late round the outside of the Williams. Will Toby leave the room as Louis has left the session? He will. Side by side, Callum on the power. Goes wide, and now Sasha tries to get in amongst the action. Dobson, Dobson's got ahead of Louis' ghosted car. As to the inside, Charlie find a way with Sasha. These two also had a bit of a fight in Japan last week. Well, I'm sure Cooks was pretty happy he got away from these lot, as Grush not a million miles off Yannick, who's fallen a bit behind Samurai, who's fallen a bit behind Dello. As to the inside, Toby just holding off Callum, but once again they're going to go side by side. But unlike last lap, this time it's inverted. Callum's the one on the outside. Are they going to go side by side again through the Mickey Mouse chicane? Yes, they are. Fair play to them. You got to admit there's always going to be a bit of contact and rubbing, but rubbing is racing. And all of these guys in a big fight, led by Callum. Nathan gets the second pair in the top 3 within a second. One of the Samurai's fallen a lot further back now under pressure from Yannick, and Grush not a million miles behind. Fastest lap out of fastest lap for these guys. Dello, that 3 second would not matter now. As there is a move. Yannick to the inside of Samurai. And it looks like he's got it done then. Samurai 100, Yannick 100. And the Cadillac is ahead of the Red Bull. Still all over the back of him. No sort of movement happening at turn 1 for these guys. So Yannick's ahead then. And it looks like it's starting to calm down a little now. Now the question is, can anyone make the Inters last the whole race? My thoughts, no. We are going to have to see at least a pit stop, at least at the halfway stage, maybe even earlier, if you think that's the right way to go, which it probably is. Around lap 12, 13, 14. We know Fnatic always likes to go long, but we are yet to see him in a... because he joined at the halfway stage of last season, we're yet to see him in a wet race scenario, really, in terms of what he does for strategy. But this is the closest. Fnatic has looked to Martin for a while now. And you hold your breath every time they go through that Mickey Mouse chicane. They don't really need to take too much risk going that close to the inside wall, but they're all pushing. And, well, no one really did it yesterday. I don't think anyone did, really. So who knows Sasha getting it all wrong, and that's why, because he's side by side with Charlie. I wondered why he went so wide. He had to leave the room for Charlie, who's now up into the points. Charlie, who started last, is 10th on lap 6. So him and Christian and whatnot really know how to make a good first few laps worthwhile. But Sasha not giving this up. Back to the inside line. Charlie trying to squeeze Sasha a little, put him under pressure. All within the rule book. And Sasha back in front of the Cadillac. Sure to the inside, trying to sneak a move. Can't quite do it. But Charlie tucked up behind the wake of the Alpine, side by side once again as they fly pie down into turn 1. Sasha, Charlie, Sasha. As Alex has sped in the pit lane. Charlie now ekes in front, leaves the room just about for Sasha. This is great racing between the two of them. And it looks like Charlie will emerge ahead of the Alpine. So now Toby's getting the same impotence that Cookster had, where, okay, I've held my position and it's paid off because now they're fighting a lot and I can pull away. Same with Callum in the mix, as it's not been the greatest start to the season for Callum. No points to his name, I believe. He retired in the first race. He missed the last 2 races. I think he was on holiday. But now he's running in 8th, so at least he's getting some points on the board for now, as Charlie ekes a little bit of a gap. We got a yellow at the back, and I believe that is drifting. Don't know what happened to him. He's on mediums. I don't know if that's going to be the right call at the moment. So, Dello dropped a little behind these two now. Martin, Fnatic. Where can Fnatic spy a gap? Fnatic really wants to toss this out into the ring, that he can be one of the next championship fighters. But right now, it's been Dello, Martin, Dello. The winners so far. Is Martin about to make it another bounce back? 2 for Dello, 2 for Martin. Or can Fnatic become a race winner in Season 13? Samurai still keeping with Yannick, but Garouche has now caught these guys. As Alex causing yellows, I think, at, just before the Mickey Mouse part. So his race has well and truly gone bad. Sasha has been dropped by Charlie now. They're all starting to deserve their points of Cookster, Callum, Toby, Charlie. Now best of the rest for nothing really at the moment. Sasha, Sure, Eggy. I'm sure he must not be loving his race right now. Dubs has caught these guys as well. For Gareth, who's now all over the back of Eggy. Is he going to go around the outside? Does he dare? Not quite. But he's sizing up Eggy this way and that. Switch back here. Switch back there. Now he looks to the inside on the Mercedes. As going wide there is Sasha. You can see Sure putting him under pressure side by side with them two. Side by side with these two. And he loses the car to allow Eggy back in front. But Sure has gotten ahead of Sasha. But now Sasha in the slipstream will fight back at the Aston Martin. Sure stays to the right. Sasha doesn't bother. Who's going to brake later? Jack or Eggy? Looks like it was pretty even between the pair of them. Gareth turned in, but he wasn't at the right angle. More yellows being caused by Alex at the back, and Eggy will hold on for now on P13. There we go. Lap 9 begins. We got yellows, and that for once it's not drifting, as it looks like it was one of the Hassers at the back, as Aaron and Nathan are fighting for P18. Cal has left those guys, and now he's all over the back of Christian for P16. Does he look to the inside, Cal? He's gotten enough alongside Christian, doesn't really fight it too much until he's on the power on the exit, but he's been caught with the wheels. So Cal has managed to get the move. As we see Dubs and Eggy once again. Dubs breaks very late. Now Eggy with a switchback. Can he go around the outside of the RB? Will the RB leave him enough room? Yes, he will. But Eggy caught on the curb, which is allowing Dubs to stay ahead now, as they have left. Well, they've been dropped, should I say, from Sasha and Sure. So once again, they're all just starting to break away. Samurai is now outside of a second of Yannick. Garouche starting to pick the pace up a bit now. Top 6 within 10 seconds of one another after nearly 10 laps. Dello just lacking a little bit of pace from... drifting stays out. Dello, who you could argue, at least after Japan, looked the quickest on paper of all of the drivers, race pace wise. Right now, on the Inters, it's not looking the case. It's looking like Martin and Fnatic class of the field at the moment. It always looks off board like it's just getting a bit better. But I don't know, it's kind of just staying how it is. Maybe it'll dry up by the end. That could be quite exciting. But it looks like this is just going to be the calm before the storm right now. I'm going to quickly check Martin's fastest laps to see if it is improving. Not really. It's been quite consistent, actually. So, for one of the very rare times in Tier 2, look at that, Charlie! With the fastest lap of the race. Fair play. I did see him on career mode doing Miami before this race, so he has definitely had some good practice. But good for him. Started last, remember? And now he's running in the points. What was I saying? Yeah, very rare moments so far this season where there's been a bit of a dull or a hull or whatever the word is. But there's still some battles going on. And in the next couple laps, we are going to see if some brave it out to the end. Some will make the one stop. If you pit and you're at the front right now, you would come out around about where Charlie and Scher are. As we see Fnatic within half a second of Martin, but not close enough. We see Charlie well within half a second of Toby. He's caught up to the back of the Williams. And now these two, who also had a few moments in Japan last week, are going to try and make another battle for themselves. But hopefully this time it'll be a lot better. Charlie looks so stupendous in these conditions right now, as he's cleared Toby with a great overtake. Charlie carries on. He's up to P9 now. This is one of the best races I've seen from Charlie. This is great. Another speeding pen for Alex to equal his position, and he becomes the first retirement of the race just before he gets lapped. And look at it. There's a swap for the lead. Oh, because Martin's in. Great. Ready to get us excited. As look at that. Toby's coming back to the inside of Charlie, who leaves Toby just enough room. As into the pits is also Samurai. And Dello. Red Bull are stacking. And, oh, are they all going on? Oh, they're going on dries. Has it stopped raining? It has stopped raining. So only the first, third of the race was going to be affected by wet running. As, look at this. Now we're going to get a taster for what's better, the Inters or very cold, hard compound tyres. It's the two fastest men on the track right now, but on two completely different tyres. But it looks like the track's just good enough for Martin to stay ahead of Charlie. And Dello and Samurai must have been held up a little from the reset of the mechanics. So Red Bull both pitting onto hards. Martin as well. Let's see the gap. 17.4. And it's just kind of staying around there. So will Fnatic overcut Martin, or has Martin pitted on the right lap? This is still kind of early, considering what? I pitted on this lap yesterday, and everyone else pitted a lap or so later, and they were on 80 or 90%. We know Tier 2 maybe doesn't push as hard, so maybe they're fine, but that's still going to be quite interesting towards the end. Sliding out there is Dello. Martin, I swear it was 17.4. Now it's gone to 18 seconds. Could Fnatic overcut Martin here? This could be the race win right here. Very crucial lap. Samurai's all on his own, so he's not really got any traffic in front, unlike Dello. So, what does Fnatic do? He stays out! Wow. Okay. Gap's gone a bit down now. It's starting to swap. But Charlie's still all over the back of Martin here. It's anyone's game, but Charlie now dives into the pit. So does Cookster, so does Grush. Yannick stays out for one more lap. This could help them in the end with the deficit and making it really to the end. But pit stop time for all of these drivers. That frees up Dello. Still the same gap. So even if Fnatic comes out behind Martin, doesn't matter. Fnatic will have a 2-lap fresher tyre delta to Martin, which could really help him. We know Fnatic and Yannick are the two who like to stay out the most. We saw it last week in Japan. So right now, Martin's got to get on with it. Now it's back down to 17.4. Now he's going to start to gain a little, probably, on Fnatic. And that means we're going to get our battery back. You know, all these regulations talking about, oh, the battery. This is actually a good thing. They're all going to use it now as soon as... Well, we're not going to see DRS enabled. I guess we're going to see a message of boost in it. I actually don't know. If it's a wet race, does that mean the whole race is now restricted? It surely can't be that. Surely they will be able to use boost mode soon when the track is deemed dry enough. But look at it, the track is dry, so I actually don't know. I've never considered that. As side by side, Grush has caught Samurai. Slight tyre banging between them. But Grush, who was behind Samurai, is now right behind him. The only two inter-runners on the field, Oh, that is so close to the inside wall for Grush. I really thought he was going to hit it there. The only two inter-runners, 1 and 2. There we go, Fnatic's in. And Yannick will follow. 17.4, 17.0. So Fnatic really won't come out too far behind Martin. Let's look back to Samurai and Grush. Not close enough. But when battery hopefully gets enabled, a lot of overtaking is going to happen. So Martin back into the lead. Fnatic will exit a couple seconds behind him. There is Martin. That's not too bad from Fnatic. Fair play to him. Normal grip, straight mode and boost restored. There we go. Right, now it's going to be interesting. As Grush on the next lap, I guess. We'll get the blue mode. Martin has got a 3-second time penalty. And as if it already didn't look pretty good for Fnatic, it looks great now for the Williams. Louis also with a time pen. The bottom 4 all with them. 2 of the top 3 with 1. Wow. So not only does Fnatic have 2 lap fresher tyres, he doesn't have a time penalty. And now it's going to be very difficult for Martin to stretch that gap. This is all coming up Fnatic right now. Let's look back to intervals. So on the next lap, blue mode will be enabled unless you were far enough back like Sher was to get it. So we've had our taster of the rain. It was alright. But now we can get back to what we've had for a while. Dry running. But they are very spaced out. But there is starting to be a bit of a battle brewing on all the way to 5th potentially. Because look at the pace of Callum, who's got Cookster by the way. And Charlie, we shouldn't discount him. It's very rare you see this camera angle. I actually kind of like it. But Toby, all of these guys closing up to Samurai. They were so spaced out and now they're closing in. So this is going to be hopefully a really cool fight. Yannick, bit on his own, I can't lie. I mean, he's ahead of Samurai only by a couple seconds, but he's looking okay. As Dello, fastest lap of the race. Fnatic now under 2 seconds with Martin. Doesn't even have to get the job done now. They all just have to try and make their hard compound tyres last to the end. Except Nathan, he's on medium. Says Charlie, fastest lap of the race. Where is this pace coming from? From the Cadillac. Look at that, 35.1. I'm going to assume Fnatic's now going to set his fastest lap. And Yannick. Yeah, because obviously they stayed out 1 extra lap. Okay, fair. I guess that one doesn't count. But yeah, Charlie really ramping up to the back of Cookster, who's trying to stick with Callum. Grush has lost a little to Samurai, who's lost a little to Yannick. So at the moment, Dello and Martin are still safe for a podium. But right now, Fnatic is looking good for this win. I'm going to quickly check the championship standings again. Grush 51, Dello 50, Martin 43, Eggy 40. But Eggy's not scoring any points right now. But then behind Eggy is Fnatic on 33 points. He went into today 18 behind Grush. Fnatic's actually lost a couple tenths to Martin here. 34.3. The track's just ramping up with time now. Wait, was that 7 thousandths? Oh my god, it was. Huh. What did Dello do? 33.8. What, Samurai? I didn't quite catch it. 34.7. Charlie. Also didn't quite catch that one. Sasha ahead of Sher. Eggy's just on his own right now, unfortunately. Eggy, who's, I think, maybe the only driver in this whole field to have done a Miami Tier 2 Grand Prix. I could be wrong, though. I think he did. I can't remember anyone else doing one. Maybe Christian. Maybe Cal, actually. As the two Haas cars, whoa, into the wall goes Aaron. So they might be teammates, but they're not racing like them. As Aaron goes into the pits then, Christian time pen. And Dub's time pen, and that might be the end of Aaron's race. Right now he's not pressing retire, so they carry on. Yannick's got some good pace then. He's closing the gap to Dello. Could Yannick get this podium still? Could he close up there as Aaron retiring in the pits? Grush back within a second of Samurai. He's going to get the blue mode soon. Samurai 100% to burn though. Halfway through. Let's look. Who's still got a yellow fuel light? Dello, Yannick. Sasha gets a pen. Sasha, Eggy, and Christian. Fnatic fastest lap of the race now. Just under a tenth separates these two. So, as Yannick goes even quicker. So, fair play to Martin actually, as Charlie is ahead of Cookster. Oh, and because Cookster's gone around. Cookster is going to drop out of the points now. He was looking so set for some good points, but whether there's been an incident or he's just lost it, because you can lose it quite easily here once your tyres start to wear on the power. I don't know if he runs traction control though, but either way, that's promoted Sasha to 10th, but with that pen, that promotes Scher into a net P10. What I was saying is, Martin, fair play to him, 2 lap older tyres than Fnatic, and he's keeping the gap consistently at bay, as Charlie is making another move on Callum now. Started 20th. And is up to 7th. A driver who you wouldn't really consider a top driver, let alone sometimes a midfield driver. Sometimes a back marker, but overall I'd say he's a midfield driver. Right now, this is certainly the best race I've ever seen from Charlie. Up to 7th. What can he do about Grush and Samurai? Samurai and Charlie, who both made their debut a year ago or so at the Australian Grand Prix, where Samurai took victory. Charlie qualified 3rd. With Josh, whatever, IGTC or whatever his name is, at Sauber. And after that, Charlie just didn't really do anything else. He finished, I don't even know where he finished, but not amazingly, I don't think. So yeah, who knows what Charlie could do, as Grush all over the back of Samurai, blasting his battery. Now he's got a chance on the Red Bull. Goes to the left, side by side, between Grush and Samurai, and Grush has gotten ahead of the Red Bull. Samurai, who didn't enter the first race, finished 6th in round 2, 6th in round 3, is currently 6th again in round 4, but he's not going to give this up without a fight. And I tell you what, Fnatic has just absolutely done Martin on the previous lap by over a second, whether he made a mistake or now Fnatic's woken up a little. Either way, he's now within a second of the Aston Martin. Look at that, Yannick. He was 7-8 seconds behind Dello. Now he's 5.5. Yannick trying to get a second podium of the season. Grush, no battery. Samurai with enough. Now he realises he turned it off. He turned it back on. He's got a chance to get back ahead of Grush now. Round the outside goes Samurai. And Grush leaves in the room. 2 of the cleanest drivers in the field. Very respectful from one another. And it looks like Samurai will just have this. He does. And a bit of sliding against the wall for good measure. This is going to allow Charlie to really close up to these guys. And all while the thought in the back of your head that you really don't want to think about, but you just can't help but remember time and time again, what are my tyres going to be like at the end of this race? As pulling out to the right, Grush. 3 swaps in 1 lap with these two, really. As they're side by side, Charlie getting front row tickets to this. Yannick is absolutely flying right now. 32-0. I mean, they're all kind of... I mean, Dello's just not really looking quick enough right now, which is something I really didn't expect to say, considering, like I said, he was pretty much deemed the quickest last week. But this is Tier 2. Every week is a new story. You just need the right driver at the right track, and they will deliver. And look at this. I mean, Charlie, no better example right now. It's actually a shame he didn't qualify, because he could have... Who knows where he could have been if he did. This is certainly up there for maybe comeback of the season, considering where he started. Samurai and Grush, very little battery. Charlie has enough. Cal, 3-second time pen. They're starting to creep up a bit more here and there, these penalties. That was very good braking from Samurai right there to hit the apex. Now Charlie's going to get blue mode. Look at that, 100% already though. It's a swap between Christian and Nathan. The 17th and 18th. Louis, bit on his own. Eggy and Dubs have both been overtaken by Cal. Remember, Cal was last at one point. He's up to 13th now. Shuts the door on the RB. So fair play to him. Martin, fastest lap, replaced by Fnatic with the fastest lap. Dello, fastest lap. Yannick, 31.5. Does he do it as well? 31.6. So they're lapping very close to one another now. Martin just keeping the gap enough. But you can just see he's struggling. You can see how much quicker Fnatic is, at least through that section of the track. And how long will it take for Charlie to overtake Samurai and Grush? Because it looks like a matter of when, not if. A P5 finish for Charlie. A top two Cadillacs in the top 5 finish at their first home Grand Prix, if you think about it, would be absolutely amazing for these two. I think Grush nearly hit the wall there. Very level between these two. Charlie blasting all his battery to try and close in on Samurai. It'll be a risky send from there. And he thinks better of it. He knows he doesn't have to charge straight away. Fnatic is now the closest he has been to Martin since the start of the race. Martin goes left to try and break the toe slightly. Fnatic will not get him into this straight. Yannick, 1.4 away from snatching that podium away from Dello. Look at these three, how close they are. Now Charlie can think about a move on Samurai. They're all blasting their battery. They're all pretty equidistant from one another. So it looks like nothing may happen yet. But surely on this next lap, there will. Charlie breaks very late there. Nearly runs into the back of Samurai. 10 laps to go, including this one then. And Martin has done everything he can so far this race to lead. Samurai fastest lap, Charlie fastest lap. They're all giving it absolutely everything right now. And you can't separate them really within, what, 7 or so tenths of one another. As Toby is ahead of Callum. Callum's in the pits again. So Callum opting for a 2-stop. Maybe he's jumping before the rest. He knows the tyres will fall off towards the end. Is he thinking the 2-stop is better? So Callum comes out in P12. Just ahead of this gaggle of cars. As there's the swap for the lead. Fnatic, it's been coming for a while. And he's overtaken Martin. Apologies, didn't catch that fully, but it was always going to happen eventually. Fnatic leads the Miami Grand Prix. And that was also a question of when is he going to get him, not if. And now he can set his sights on a first win of the season. As there, Charlie and Samurai side by side. Charlie has the inside line. He has so much more commitment. Samurai has to back out eventually. Charlie is up to P6 now. As Yannick is only 9 tenths off a podium. And now Charlie sets his sight in the slipstream of Grush. As they fly past, Charlie is having the race of his life right now. Grush goes to the left to defend. Charlie's going to have to go right. Who's going to break later? It looks like Charlie did. Round the outside of Grush. Can he make it stick? What a move this would be. Charlie has got the move done. And he's up into the top 5. What a move. So confident on the brakes. Ahead of the McLaren. And Samurai, all they can do is watch and gaze at Cadillac. Both of them now in the top 5. Wow. So Martin sticking with Fnatic. I don't know how many warnings the Williams has, but he looks in control. Can Martin fight back? He's got no battery really to do so. Grush still trying to stick with Charlie to the inside. Dubs speeds into the pit lane, but that's going to put him off on the exit as Dubs retires in the pit lane there. And something's happened with Cal as well. Oh, he's also in the pits. As oh, there's a swap. Sure, and Cookster. Not often you see moves through here, but Cookster's got ahead of him. As we're going to have to look forward because Grush is fighting back at Cookster. Grush now breaks slightly later than the Cadillac. Slight contact, but no love lost. Charlie still stays ahead. Grush hits the wall for good measure. So Charlie stays in front for now. And Sure stays ahead of Cookster. Trying to sit within that 3 seconds of Sasha. The yellows from Dubs' car. Then there were 17. Fnatic eking the gap a little now. Yannick, 8 tenths with 8 laps to go. Lock up from Charlie, who goes very deep. Grush on the power as early as possible. Lights the tyres up on the rear. And will he try and move down the inside on Charlie? He's going for it, is Grush. Locks up to the inside. And it comes so close, they may have even banged wheels slightly. But now Samurai's all over the back with a lot of battery compared to these two. Callum, fastest lap of the race now. Can he maybe get his way back up to maybe 9th, maybe 8th from where he was in the pits as Grush once again takes the tighter inside line, puts Charlie off slightly. As Cookster once again has gotten ahead of Scher. Now he's been overtaken by Callum, who's getting back up into the points here. As Charlie and Grush side by side once again. This time Grush is further ahead on the Cadillac. And they're going to go side by side once again at the end of the straight. Charlie around the outside. Grush to the inside. Leaves the room. Charlie sends it to the inside and gets the move done. This is fantastic from the Cadillac. Putting on a right show as Cookster is back in front of Callum. Not making it too easy. I'm sure Callum's mediums are still going to fall off quite at the end though as well. But yeah, that wasn't in the script for the Audi. Martin's still keeping pretty close to Fnatic. It could all change if Fnatic gets a penalty. Yannick and Dello pretty much identical right now. And these three nose to tail. With 7 laps to go, including this one. Grush not deciding to blast now. Keep behind Toby on his own right now. What about Callum? Got plenty of battery to use. So is Cookster. Now he looks to the inside. And he should be able to get him on the drag to the line. Now into turn 1. He's done it. Very nice. Now Callum has to set his sights. Well, at the moment he's got 9th. He pitted from 8th. So his target is to get Toby by the end of the race. I think he can, but we'll see. Now they're a bit more spaced out, these three. And it's actually Charlie who has the most battery of the lot. Grush is out. Samurai stopped depleting. Charlie holds on for now. Yannick's actually dropped a little for the first time in a while behind Dello. Dello's had to pick it up to get this podium. Well, to hold on to this podium. I think the thing is with Dello, he might argue if this penalty had cost him anything, that I went across the chicane, that should be only 1 warning instead of just giving me a straight 3 or 3 warnings as the equivalent. But I guess it depends. But right now, it's not going to change anything for Dello's race. But I'll tell you what, Yannick's just taken half a second or whatnot in the last 20 seconds while I've been mentioning that. As Samurai, I think we just caught the end of him nearly hitting the back of Grush there. Callum has left Cookster over a second. Is now closing up to Sasha, who's still trying to hang on for this 1 point. 6 to go, including this one. I'm going to quickly check Fnatic's penalty warnings, because why not? 14, and that's it. Is that for like crossing the thing, or? Oh, it's here. Okay, so he's got 1 warning. So Fnatic looking completely fine at the moment. Oh, what's happened to Sasha? Oh, he's in the pits. That's why. So Sasha's pitted quite late in the race, so he couldn't hack the tyres, or maybe he just didn't think they were going to make it. And this is what we're going to start to see from drivers. Will they make their tyres last? Charlie's been pushing a lot this race. Is he maybe under pressure from that? His tyres look fine for now. They all kind of look the same right now. Charlie right up close to that wall. And here we see the top 2. Very close. Within 2/10 as Martin had to lock up there. I wonder if Martin's best bet right now is just to pressure Fnatic. Make him make mistakes. Force him towards the white lines. But actually don't force him off. Because then it wouldn't be fair. But that's his best bet of winning this race. Yannick's lost another nearly second that lap. Five to go of what has been quite an enthralling Miami Grand Prix, at least in the first and third act. The middle kind of got sorted with the strategy from the changeable conditions from wet to dry. We've seen a lot of moves, a lot of quite impressive drives and overtakes. most from Charlie, who's now starting to break a little ahead of Grush. Championship leader for now. Martin goes very deep there. Nearly running into the back of Fnatic. Look further back to Grush, who I think turned his battery off, then turned it back on, now turns it off. It's Charlie just making sure there's no sort of move. And Samurai is actually falling a bit further behind. Why is he ghosted? Christian's left the session. Nathan's left the session. Oh no. Have I left the session? Everyone's... Oh no. Wait, what? Oh no. Have I been kicked out? Ah, damn. I really hope I've been kicked out and this isn't like a lobby thing. Well, Louis just messaged me, invite please. That's not a good sign. We've had this once in the past where Japan, years ago, everyone with like 4 or 5 laps got kicked out, and we had to take the race result. Oh, this is not what you want to see. Didn't even show the thing. Oh no. More and more are asking for invites. I'm going to try and join off one of them, hopefully. No way. No. Oh no. Well, for the first time since Tier 1 Season 6 Japan, when we crowned Red Fire Tiger as the double champion that season, in what was a bit of an anticlimactic but weird way. In Season 13 Tier 2, it looks like we've had a premature end to the race, and that means that is it. We will take the race result 1 lap before the incident happened, as sort of a red flag scenario. We will not be having a 5-lap resumption because it's too unfair with those on pens and just the pens in general, and it can cause too much. So that will be it. So I'm going to have to quickly type a message. Apologies to everyone that we've been denied a bit of a fight at the end there, mainly with Charlie, Grush and Samurai. So Fanatics won the race. I think that was always going to happen. Well done to Martin P2 and Dello P3. He's managed to hold on ahead of Yannick. It looked like he was going to hold on anyway, but yeah, I think Charlie will get P5, Grush will get 6th, Samurai 7th, Toby 8th. Bit of a shame for Callum because he was trying to get back to that P80 he was in when he pitted, but wow, that's not the way you want to see a race ended. Alright, so bear with me. I'm gonna make an announcement and then I will get the top 3 in for that interview. Right. Top three. Fnatic, Martin, and Dello. Well, that's yeah, that's not. It's not been the greatest way to end the race. It could be worse. Like, the race could have genuinely had so many undecided factors, maybe even for the win, and we could have been denied properly. But I think most of that was going to be the same by the end. The Charlie Grush Samurai thing maybe could have changed, but everything else probably was going to stay the same. Anyway, we have the top 3 joining the party then. Delo's joined first. We'll await to see Fnatic and Martin join. Charlie won the race in his lobby. Oh, hi Dello. So Dello's here. Let me just quickly. I prayed it was only me that I left and all you were still fine, and then I started to see people message for an invite. Let me just quickly. Oh, Fnatic's here. Let me just quickly. This is mine for an interview. VAR check. Right, I'll just quickly invite Martin one more time. He's on home right now. But yeah, we can start. Right, so we have first and third joining the pipe. Right, Fnatic, are you there, mate?
Yes, I am.
Hi, mate. So, in a bit of a premature way, I'm sure no one really wants to win like this, but nonetheless, it's still a win. Iowa Fnatic, you have won the Tier 2 Season 13 Miami Grand Prix. In a way, I don't think anyone's really ever won a race, especially in Tier 2 mainly. Wow, just what are your thoughts on this crazy one-of-a-kind race? And it's your first win of the season, your first win since the three you got in the second half. We've seen you in wet race conditions and dry. You were fantastic. Sum it all up. What's the feeling?
Wow, I'm really happy with this result because I did not expect to have that much pace in qualifying or the race, because usually I have a bit of a deficit at the moment in these cars, but it seemed today the setup just came alive, did what I expected of it, and obviously it dragged me to the win. It was a shame to not finish the race under the right circumstances, but overall it was a good battle between me and Martin. I just bided my time, and I knew once he pitted to the hard, I knew I had to extend by 1 or 2 laps because I know the tyre wear's quite high around here, so I think that helped me get the win today.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fantastic your best qualifying result so far in Tier 2 with a P2 start, and we always know your race, your performance in the race is always better than quali, so it kind of always seemed like you were at least going to be second or first today. And yeah, staying out those extra couple laps, we always know you like to do that anyway in the dry. The great consistent pace, you eventually got Martin. It's good you got him when you did. You didn't decide to, I'll stick behind and get him at the very final few laps, because obviously that could have... well, it didn't actually, because Martin had a penalty and you didn't. But still, you got it done on track, so you're ahead anyway, which is always the better way to do it. So very well done, and you have now tossed your hat into the ring of the growing drivers who are going to fight for this championship. So what an excellent race from you. And I guess the other question is just what was the reaction when the mass disconnect happened?
Well, initially I saw someone leave the session. I thought, oh, someone's just leaving, and then I got a glimpse behind, and I saw Martin with the X, and then obviously the whole lobby desynced. So I immediately went to Lobster and that to see what was going on, and his lobby also got desynced. So it was a shame how it ended, because it's always best to obviously do it on track. And yeah, overall it's a bit disappointing in the way I've won it today, but I'll give fair play to Martin and Dello.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we will sort the order. It's like real life when there's a red flag and there's no resumption at the end. We will just take the order, whatever it was, 1 lap before the disconnect happened, which, you know, won't change anything really for the top. I don't think anything happened in the 1 lap leading up to the disconnect in like the top 7, 8. I know one driver who's mainly affected by it is Callum. He was in 8th. He pitted for mediums on a second run to try and gain back to 8th. And I think he only got up to 9th or 10th or whatnot. So he may have missed out. But everyone else, I think, points-wise, actually hasn't been too affected by this. But like you say, it's just a bit disappointing. We did get to see, you know, your glory moment of crossing the line. I can maybe make like a quick 5-lapper or something if you want to drive around and cross the line and win. But I'll quickly interview the other two and then we'll see if and whatnot. But anyway, for now, congratulations, and hopefully this is the only time this ever happens with the disconnect. But very well done, you deserve this. The first few races, it looked like you were just trying to pick your feet back up from the highs of from the end of last season. It's taken a bit, but now you are right back here. So very well done.
Thank you.
So on to P2 then. Martin, are you there, mate?
Yes.
What do you call it? For now, you included your audio, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Martin, have you included your audio?
Yeah. Got it.
Perfect. Right, Martin. a very strong showing from qualifying and the race today. I guess the best way to put it, it went a lot better than last week, to put it lightly. So let's start off with the good. It was a fantastic qualifying lap from you. Fantastic. It was a brilliant lap, a 26.0, quite a bit ahead of Fnatic, who was the next car. I think it was 0.373 tenths. How did the lap feel, and how was qualifying in general to get your first pole in Tier 2?
First of all, I have like 5 minutes, so then I must go. So
Okay, no
a
worries.
little bit faster. Yeah, qualifying was amazing. Big shootout to my teammate Cher. Especially the last run, he gave me slipstream, and that was like, yeah, amazing. Without my teammate or without the slipstream, it would be closer. But yeah, we're very happy with the pole position, and yeah, I was like celebrating on the party, and it's like, yeah, pretty good to start on the front row.
That's awesome. Yeah, I did. When you were heading through the back straight with just 1 or 2 corners left, I saw Scher was right behind you, so I did think he may have given you a toe on the straight in the middle of the lap, and yes, he did. So yeah, I think it definitely would have helped maybe by a tenth or two, but you got it by nearly 4 tenths. So I think you would have been done. You would have done enough anyway for pole, but it just made that gap even bigger. So yeah, Scher proven to be once again a great help in terms of being a teammate this season to you. So that was great. So yeah, great pole. The race began, wet conditions. Was this the first ever time you've driven in the wet with these cars?
That was not the first time, but like maybe the second or third race with wet conditions, and it feels strange, slippery, or slippery. And so like the first rounds was just checking where it needs to. Oh my god, my English! So now I fucked up.
It's all good, mate.
Yeah, you need to look at the first rounds with braking and throttle and yeah.
No, it's all good, mate. Right, so as you only got a few minutes. So yeah, we saw you pit when it started to dry up. Once the race got underway, you managed to keep a good gap to Fnatic in the first stint on the inters. It looked like you two were, well, and maybe Charlie were the quickest as he pulled away from Dello a little. And he got that straight 3-sec by going over the Mickey Mouse chicane on lap 2. And then, yeah, you pitted first. Fnatic, like I said, stayed out a couple laps. So as soon as you saw Fnatic come out the pits, and then even a couple corners later, you got that 3-second penalty. Did you kind of know there and then you've kind of lost your shot at the win here? Were you thinking, I've got to do everything I can to at least get second now? Or did you still think you could win?
No, I would say Fnatic, all of them, he was a little bit quicker. Without the penalty, I think he would win. My tires were pretty fucked, so I would say maybe in the last round, maybe I would get a puncture. So maybe a little bit luck of the connection or shootout on Xbox for the best connections. And the time penalty was pretty stupid. Like, I leave the track, I lose time, and I get then the penalty. So like, I was then very angry of this because I lose time, so I don't get how to say it. I don't advance time, or I get.
Yeah, I get it. You went off. You like backed off almost, so you don't think you've gained an advantage, and it still gives you the warning.
Yeah,
it's very
exactly.
annoying. Yeah.
But
no, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, like what I said, I think Fnatic was a little bit faster than me, especially on the dry track. And yeah, shootout, GG on Fnatic for the win. Was pretty fast.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually praising you a little. The fact that Fnatic had 2 lap fresher tyres and you actually kept the gap at 1.92 seconds, quite a lot, even at that deficit. And then there was 1 lap where Fnatic just gained a whole second on you. I cut back and he's suddenly 8 tenths behind. So yeah, Fnatic really came into his own then. And yeah, I think when we look back, I think that's going to be the biggest question mark from this. Not who could have finished where, but I was saying a few times in the last 20 or so laps whose tyres will make it to the end, because you obviously pitted first, I guess. Same with Dello and Samurai and whatnot. Would they have made it? Would anyone's had any fuel issues? We will unfortunately never know now. But for now, it's been P2, which, if I'm doing the math right, because Dello finished third, I think Dello will retake the lead in the championship because Grush finished 6th. I think you'll move up to 2nd. I could be completely wrong, but from what I can remember with the maths, I think you move up to 2nd. So you're definitely showing more and more that you are definitely in this fight. Early doors, obviously we're only a 5th of the way done, but yeah, you got to go in a minute. So for now, very well done. Another podium, and back to where we predicted you'd probably be, fighting for these wins and podiums. So very well done. And what are your thoughts on Bahrain next week? Final question.
Yeah, Bahrain is a nice, good track. I have got confidence, so I would say podium is possible. And yeah, I hope Xbox connection would not fuck like now in Miami. But I would say Bahrain would be interesting.
Yeah, another high tyre wear demanding track, a lot of battle opportunities. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of always just going to be the story of today. Before we loaded into the lobby, people were on about, there's an Xbox Live mass disconnect, but everyone then said, it's fine for me, and we thought we got away with it, and then it happened an hour later, I guess. But anyway, for now, well done on P2, and we will see you next week then, mate.
Thank you very much. So, we must go. So, I would leave the interview. GG to P3 also. And yeah, maybe see you next week.
Alright, see you next week, mate. Well done. We're going to move on to P3. Dello, are you there, mate?
Yeah, I'm here.
Have you included your audio?
Yeah.
Alright, great. So, Dello, qualifying, you've qualified 5th, I think? 5th. So, well, let's start with qualifying then. You and Samurai at one point locked out the front row. It was looking very racy, and I said any one of the top 6 could really get this pole. Obviously, Martin did. He probably would have got it by a 10th or whatever. Obviously, you had the toe in. It's more than that, but it was still very close. Did you think that was the maximum, or do you think you were lacking a little? Were you happy with 5th? Bit disappointed?
No, it's a little bit disappointing really, because I know there was more in the lap because I've done better in practice, but it's one thing doing it in practice than doing it in the race. Also, being a 10th off, I think it was 2nd or 3rd, it might have been 3rd, was quite annoying as well, but I don't think the qualifying really impacted my race at all, because into turn 1, 2 positions.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. Did it just look like Samurai and Yannick just didn't get the greatest wheel spin? Did you think you had a good start, or like an average one, or did they have poor starts? What exactly happened?
Yeah, I just think I had a better start. That's what it was. Even if I did, sorry, I'm sort of going back now. But even if I qualified 3rd and I got the same start and somehow got into 1st, I don't think I would have kept it. So, but yeah, it was a good start, and the gap just sort of opened up, and then Samurai was attacking me back through the sector 1 corners, but I just held on.
Yeah, so a few laps later on, you 3 pulled away from Samurai and whatnot, and then you started to lack a little towards the top 2, so you're kind of on your own a little. But just going kind of in the middle there, lap 2 at the Mickey Mouse chicane, what exactly happened?
Don't know. Just missed the corner, I guess. It's just. I mean, I think the 3 seconds was very harsh anyway, because I did lift off, I didn't gain time, I didn't gain any positions. I was expecting a warning, but Yeah, I guess I just missed the break a bit, and by that point, if I turned left to go around the like the curb, it would have just sent me flying or into the wall. It wasn't worth, you know.
Would have done a hadger.
Yeah, exactly. It just wasn't worth trying to make the corner by the point I got to. So I just thought, okay, if I just go off the track, slow down enough, don't gain any time, I'll be fortunate enough with just a warning. But yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah, that's completely fair. Obviously, in the end, because I was monitoring the gap with you and Yannick, Yannick was so quick. He was 8 seconds behind you, and it really did look like he was going to be within 3. But then around the 4-second mark, it started to just kind of stay around there. And obviously, before the disconnect, Yannick was never within 3 of you anyway. And even if he was, you probably would have argued your 3 sec to maybe get it converted to a warning, like get warnings taken off because it may have been unfair or whatnot. But it doesn't matter now because obviously it ended kind of early. So penalty or not, you've got this podium once again. And now, since round 1, when you won the opening race, you're back in the championship lead. So that must be another good positive to take from today.
Yeah, it's always the aim to try and just maximise the points. Like I said, Martin and Fnatic were like really quick, so the next best position would have been third anyway. Plus everything else that happened in the race, the disconnecting and stuff like that. Yeah, it's the best position I could have finished in, and that just happens to put me back in the lead.
Yeah, I think 2 questions. Going kind of to the middle of the race when it went from when everything swapped from the inters to the dries, did you get did your engineer suggest it, or did you see Martin in and you thought I'll follow him in, or did you always know, okay, it stopped raining, let's pit this lap?
No, the on the back straight, the engineer was like, okay, let's box for hards now, and I trusted it. I regret it a little bit because I feel like the inters probably were quicker for one more lap. It wasn't by a big margin, but again, it would have helped later on in the race as well. But yeah, I just thought I'd trust the engineer for once, and it didn't really. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it could have been better.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I see what you mean with maybe third being the maximum you could have got. It did look like, because yesterday I think I deemed you were the quickest that race last week, should I say? And then today it looked like Martin and Fnatic, mainly Fnatic, had a bit more of the pace. So moving on to my final question, same as Martin, what are your thoughts on Bahrain next week?
We'll have to see. I mean, there was a podium there for me last season, I believe, but yeah, it is a difficult track, full of tyres and a lot of battling. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's not my best track. It's not my worst track. It's just mid, I guess.
Yeah, completely fair. So yeah, very well done on 100% podium rate for every race you've done so far. So that does put you in the championship lead. Your consistency is doing enough in that regard, and you've missed a race. So fair play to you. And now you have, I think, Martin right behind you, and then Grush, and then I think our race winner from today, Fnatic, as Eggy. Unfortunately, he was 4th, but I don't think he even scored any points today. He fell right down the order. But that has been it then for the return of Miami in EXFL in general. Tier 1 yesterday saw a crazy race, mainly towards the end, and today we've seen for the first time in years really, a mass disconnect, which hopefully will never happen again, or at least if it does, it won't be for the same distance for a few years from now. But yeah, not the way we want to see a race end, but we will get it sorted. The race result was pretty much always going to stay like that anyway. So well done to Dello on 3rd, Martin on 2nd, and Fnatic on getting his first win of the season. We will see you in 1 week's time at Bahrain.